Welcome, everybody. I'm going to do some really gentle movements, some breathing, and some meditation today. So I invite you to join me in your most comfortable position. You can put something behind your back if that feels good. You can self-support and sit up tall if that feels good. We'll start by just observing the body, seeing what feels tight, what feels great, and observing without judging, which is always very, very difficult to do. So maybe put some movement into your neck gently. No need to go fast and no need to be big, but do some little neck circles, or some people prefer to do a more long hold and do more static stretching. That's fine too. Decide what feels best in your body and do that. And bring the movement into the shoulders. You can do one at a time or both together. And again, keep it slow, keep it small. Obviously, if you want to be, big and fast, great, but don't feel compelled. That's not necessarily better than being deliberate and being slow. And then we'll move the movement into the wrists, into the hands, again, both directions, where you can interlock the fingers and make some figure eights if that feels good. And stretch the fingertips, open and shut the palms. Just exploring, how does the body feel today? How are we doing? And then moving down the body into the hips. Maybe you like to do some slow hip circles, seeing how the balance is. Going the other direction. Again, these can be teeny tiny, maybe almost imperceptible, or you can make them really big and see, okay, how does it feel to be really tipped to one side? And then how does it feel to be really tipped to the other side? And then we'll articulate the spine with just a few seated cat-cows again. Take it slow. No need to rush. No need to be big or bold. More important that we're mindful. And then finally, any movements that would feel good in your legs, in your feet, maybe pointing and flexing the toes, or extending the knees, or even visualizing the ankles moving in a circle, even if there's not much movement. The idea of pushing those neural connections all the way down. The longest nerves in our body run from our central nervous system down into the feet. And then once you feel like, all right, I've moved, I have good stock of how my body is feeling today, I invite you to find a really comfortable position where you can be still for a little while. And if you like, you can close your eyes. And if for any reason that's not going to happen for you today, just lower your gaze or make your eyes go a little fuzzy. Find a drishti, a point of focus where you can kind of tune out the rest of the busy world and focus in on yourself. And the first place we'll focus is on the breath. Where can you feel it? Maybe it's in your chest. Maybe there's a slight rise on the inhale and a slight sinking on the exhale. Maybe it's in your upper lip and your nostrils. As you breathe in, that cool air comes into the nasal passageway. And as you breathe out, that warm air comes out of the nostrils. Maybe you notice the breath in the belly. And maybe you hadn't previously noticed the breath in the belly, but as you focus on the abdomen, maybe you can invite the breath down, invite the diaphragm to start kicking into gear, letting the belly rise on each inhale as the diaphragm lowers and allows the air to come into the lungs. And allowing the belly to sink on each exhale as the ribs come in a bit and push all the air out. And there's no need to take extra big breaths, and there's no need to take extra long breaths. We're just noticing right now. How does the body breathe? How does the body change as it swells and contracts as the air comes in and goes out? And as you're gently resting the attention on the breath, you might like to set an intention for today's practice. And this can be a very simple intention. I follow my breath. Or I am self-compassionate. I try new things. Or any other intention that comes to mind. Usually the first thing is what we need right now, and you can always set a different one next time. And then send that intention out to the universe. Let the universe help conspire to make it so. And then I'll invite you to deepen the breath, to lengthen the breath, to notice the breath coming in and in and in. Let the belly rise and rise and rise. And then slowly, slowly, even more slowly than the inhale, let the breath out. Really controlled, following the breath all the way out. And once you're totally empty again, slowly, deliberately, carefully, breathing in, filling the belly, filling the ribs, filling the lungs. And then exhaling slowly, deliberately, longer than the inhale if possible. When we lengthen our exhales, we stimulate the autonomic nervous system to tell the vagus nerve, to tell the gut, to tell the rest of the body, we're safe. Everything's okay. No need to be on high alert. Inhaling, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the lungs. And exhale fully, completely. And maybe you turn it into a mantra. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. And if you get distracted, if the thoughts come, if the mind is racing, that's okay. That's what thoughts do. That's what the mind does. We can gently and compassionately acknowledge the thought without judgment. We can say, thank you for showing up, and then we just let them go. Let them drift away like clouds floating across the sky. And then use the awareness to come back to the breath, back to the breathing, back to this moment, this present moment. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And anytime your attention wanders from the breath, if it's a thought that is distracting you, or a to-do list item that's, begging for your attention, maybe there's something that you're worrying about or thinking about, welcome those. It's okay. They show up in meditation. It's not a big deal. We can notice the thought. We can acknowledge the thought. We can let the thought go. And then we just come back to the breath. Come back to the present moment. Come back to this body right here, right now, as it is. Let the breath come in. And let the breath go out. like the ocean, like the circular rhythm. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. When you are aware of your breath in this way, of every breath, you connect the mind to the body right here in this present moment. So even though it's not the case in English, in a lot of languages, the word for breath and the word for spirit are very similar or the same. So when we bring the awareness to the breath, we are connecting the mind, the body, the spirit. We're connecting it all right here, right now. Dwelling in the present moment. I know this is a wonderful moment. And we'll mindfully breathe in this way, following the breath all the way in into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. And then we notice the turn, that slight pause, that little imperceptible gap between the exhale and the next inhale. And we follow the breath all the way out. We notice that brief pause, the turning point, as the out breath becomes the in breath. Noticing this rhythm, recognizing how the breath feels in our body. And then I'll invite you to put the breath on the back burner as we come into a body scan, just noticing each part of the body as it's mentioned. And maybe you can feel something in your body. It's really easy to identify each body part. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult, in which case you can just visualize, oh, this is where that body part is in space, or this is what this body part looks like or feels like. Both are fine. And so we'll start with the top of the head, the crown of the head, the skull. And you can imagine this wave of calmness, this wave of peace coming over you, down your forehead to your eyebrows, and into your eyes, letting the eyes sink into their sockets, letting them be very relaxed, all of the muscles around the eyes, the cheekbones, down the nose, letting the right ear, the outside of the ear and the earlobe, and then also the inner ear really relax. The same on the left side, the outer ear, the earlobe, and the inner ear. The upper lip and the bottom lip, and the inside of the mouth, the roof of the mouth, and the soft part in the back top of the mouth, the tongue, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Maybe you wiggle it very, very slowly, very imperceptibly, separating the teeth slightly. The left inner cheek and the right. And the neck, the throat, the air passage, the back of the neck, where the skull connects to the spine, and down into the shoulders, the right shoulder, and the upper arm, the elbow, the lower arm, the wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, the thumb, index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the baby finger. The whole right hand, back to the elbow, back to the shoulder, across the collarbone to the throat center, and across the left collarbone to the left shoulder, and the left upper arm, the elbow, the lower arm, and the wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, and all 5 fingers. The left thumb, the index finger, middle finger, the ring finger, and the baby finger. The whole left hand, back to the elbow, up to the shoulder, across the collarbone, and down into the heart center. We'll rest here for a moment, taking 5 breaths, counting each breath as you go, feeling into the heart, letting the heart, the breath, the mind all come together. And slowly bringing the attention down the sternum into that diaphragm area just below the ribs, watching the stomach rise on the inhale and sink back towards the spine on the exhale. Bring the attention to the navel, the right side body, from the armpit down to the hip, and the left side body, from the armpit down to the hip. Feeling the hips grounded, feeling whatever's beneath you. And then bringing the attention to the right leg, the thigh down to the knee, and the shin down to the ankle, the top of the foot, and all 5 toes, the big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the baby toe. The ball of the foot, the arch of the foot, the heel, the calf, the hamstrings, the right glutes, and then over to the left side, the left hip, the left thigh, the left knee, the left shin, the ankle, top of the foot, and all 5 toes, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the baby toe. Ball of the foot and the arch of the foot, the heel of the foot, the calf, the hamstrings, up to your root where the tailbone is slightly tucked, walking up the back, the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, past your kidneys, into the rib cage, up towards the shoulder blades, back up the cervical spine and the neck to the atlas and back into the skull. Letting your attention rest right in the top of the skull, crown chakra. And take one nice big inhale here. Let it out through the mouth. If you'd like to call your intention back, if you set one at the beginning of our practice, you can do that. And then bring some very gentle movements into your limbs, into the hands, into the feet. Give yourself a nice stretch. Maybe bringing some movement into the neck if that feels good. And if your eyes are closed, you can slowly blink the eyes open and come back into the space. Thanks for practicing with me today.